Hello again, Jim Dowson here on the Templar Report. Hope you're all doing okay. Now, what day are we on now? Day four of the Corona virus meltdown. I hope you're all still keeping well, and I hope your loved ones, especially the elderly people, are doing well. I was speaking to some elderly people on the telephone today, and they're quite worried about it. And the trouble with being elderly, if you're self-isolating, how do you get your provisions? And of course then there's the added burden that people with families, and not a lot of elderly people have families nowadays, it's very tragic, but their families are then taking a risk coming to visit them and bringing them provisions. It's all very sad and it's all very stressful, so I can imagine how it is affecting people. It's horrible business. Well, who have we got on today? Let's have a look. Well, lad, how you doing? Has anyone prepared if this coronavirus gets real bad? Well, lad, it is going to get really bad. Hundreds of thousands of people are going to die in the West. Maybe millions. Did you not think it was real? Real life lockdown taking place in my state. Yep, I told you this. Told you this was going to happen. Everybody's shutting down. Everything's getting closed down all over the place. Celtic Crusader. Britain has gone full socialist. Don't fully understand that. If you talk about giving your citizens money to feed their children as socialism, I'm a socialist. Bizarre. Rejuvenation, good afternoon. Hello, Texas, how are yous? Niall McConnell, how you doing, Big Niall? Hope you're doing okay. Kes Williams, I'm here for the cooking lesson. Well, there might not be one today. We'll see how we get on. I done one yesterday. I'm not particularly good at this. But anyway, listen, before we get going, as usual, we're going to start with the Lord's Prayer, or the Our Father, as people call it, and I think it's a good thing. I think it makes a community spirit, and it reminds us that the West is the Christian West. It was the faith of our fathers that built the West, and there's no point in moaning about all these other incomers stealing our country from us, and this isn't a Christian country anymore if we don't practice what we preach. So, join with me, and from next week I'm going to have this on a board on the thing, because somebody said I don't know the words yet. Good grief. But it's unusual in Ireland and it's unusual in America, but in England I suddenly realised there's people in their 40s never been to church, never even been to church for a wedding or a funeral or anything. They've just never been to church in their life. Now, for an average American or an average Ulsterman or Irishman or Scotsman, it's bizarre, but that's the way it is. And I'm not saying anything against the English, but you have to get back to your faith, the faith that built England. It's serious. But anyway, join with me in the Lord's Prayer or Our Father, okay? In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Now, somebody said to me the other day, where did you get this word debts in your Lord's Prayer? Well, I read the King James Bible. It's in there. That's the original Lord's Prayer. A lot of people have changed it to trespass, but I'll stick with the King James Bible if you don't mind. Thank you very much. You can say trespass whatever you want. But anyway, glad we've done that, and I hope something... Well, I see Celtic Crusader there is trying to bait me. No, socialism's not good for the nation. Socialism has destroyed our nations, and it's not socialism to give out Christian charity to people in need. Socialism's giving money to everybody, including those not in need. There is a thing called the justified poor, the deserving poor, and there's also the undeserving poor. There's a load of bums who won't get up off their backside and do anything for themselves. I shouldn't be forced into paying for them. Same with these young girls that are having 3 and 4 kids to 3 and 4 different fathers. They're all different colours, but I've got to pay for them. No thank you. That's socialism. I ain't a socialist. So, and neither was Jesus. So, Jonathan Bowden, how you doing? Nice to see you. James Richardson, well lad, amen, good stuff. I see you're all getting onto this. What's this? Irish people will have to start becoming carnivores. We should be carnivores. That's what these teeth are for, carnivores. See this vegetarian stuff? I think it's satanic. I don't know. It's not normal. And I've never met a sane vegetarian yet. I've employed a couple and had to get rid of them because they were stark raving mad. Absolutely mad. Must be a lack of meat. I don't know. Maybe somebody out there knows that. Maybe Niall knows, I don't know. But anybody I've met who's a vegan, there's just something not right about them. They're very highly strung. They're very, very uptight all the time. But anyway, that's the way it is. Now, somebody told me a good tip today, actually. The butchers in some of the big supermarkets have got corned beef, but in big blocks. It's quite cheap, and it's unbelievably nutritious. And if you slice it up and freeze it, you know, it's really good for you. So corned beef in big blocks is very cheap, and it's very good for you. So you might want to look into that. James Higgins, what will happen if the shops run out of supplies? Okay, let's rephrase that, James. What will happen when the shops run out of supplies? Well, civilised, decent Christians, Europeans, we will band together and we will do what we have to do so that we can survive as a community group. The newcomers will run wild, they will break into your house, they'll try and kill you, rape your wife and steal your food. That's what's going to happen. Thank you to the lefties for putting this on our plates. And that's what's going to happen. You're already seeing it. It's beginning to happen now in England, and it's beginning to happen in France and Germany. It's beginning to happen. And, you know, let's be honest, who didn't know that was going to happen? You know, we should live in a country where we're all one people and we all love each other and we all help each other. Sadly, in the last 30 years, that's been deliberately destroyed by the cultural Marxists through the Kalergi plan. We have been engineered to be broken up so that our community spirit, our national identity has been destroyed. And that's all very well and good when you're playing some kind of mind games at the European Union level, but all the lefties and all the liberals always forget human beings never change. And there's victims and there are predators. And our people are very soft now, and we've brought in some of the hardest, most nasty, warlike people on the planet. And they will act as predators, and our people will be the victims. So, that's it. I don't know about corned beef in the USA, no idea. But anyway, I see Scott Rigg here saying what's happening in the USA. I'm going to go through that right now. Let's have a wee look at what's happening in America. Okay, here's a chart here showing you the darker the colour is the level of infection in the States. And you can see the states that are worst hit. But America right now is still not that bad. It will be in a week, but it's still not that bad, but it's getting really bad. So here, that again, there's another chart. Okay, do you see this where the epicenters are? Obviously, you see there, I think that's New York, Boston, Philly. It's up the East Coast and over in LA. I don't know what those figures are. What do those figures say? Can you see what's the...
State by state by highest cases.
Okay, so what's the highest state there? New York's got how many cases?
7,102.
So New York State's got over 7,000 cases. Over 7,000. Many deaths so far? 35 deaths. So that's going to go up massively. That's going to go up to, and I'll just do a quick calculation, 700. That's going to be up in a few days to about 300 or 400 deaths, okay? Sadly. But I want to show you this chart. This is the chart you want to see, the American friends. I'm sorry to show you this. And I don't know if you're getting this news in America, because I know a lot of stuff in the West is suppressed. And the American media, CBN and all these boys are lying swine anyway. They probably blame this on Trump, you know. Trump did this. Trump did it all. It was all his fault. If I heard Trump saying the other day he's calling it Kung Flu. I know it's not a funny situation, but Kung Flu is funny. He's a boy, old Trump, isn't he? The lefties are going mad because he's calling it Chinese flu. They say, why are you calling it Chinese flu? He says, because it came from China. It was made in China. Let's hope, like most things made in China, it doesn't last long. Sadly, this one will. But look at this. Look at this spike now. When does this is day by day, isn't it? This is days, is it? This is days. Yeah. Look at this. So on the far left in the white zone, that's January. And then you come up here and you hit March. Now look, March is split into days. Look at the days. Look how it's spiking day by day. Look at yesterday. Look at the size of that graph. Now that graph's going to go about 4 feet into the air in the next week. So if you look at that in the scale, that will be 4 foot high. Won't have a computer big enough to show you that. It's going to go straight up through the roof in this building in the next week. How many's affected there? Does it say? Does it tell you the figure affected in America now? We'll see if we can get the right figure. It's Yeah, it's way well into the high thousands now, and in a couple of weeks, 4,000. Listen, this is let's be honest here. And let's be grown up about this. People of America. No, it's much more than that. You're going to have millions affected. Millions. I'll just try and count up how many the government are telling you now. The problem is, of course, nobody really knows how many is affected. You're only basing it on the test results. You're only basing it on 15. They're saying I think I've seen 15 or 17,000, but that figure is probably in excess of 100,000. They're just not showing up. But over the next week, yeah, they're saying officially. So the official US figures are 16,500. But look, that's just people I know about. So the real figure right now is going to be thousands. Now look at this. So on the 16,000 they've identified, deaths have been 225 and recovered 125. So you can see we're only at the beginning of this. We're only at the very beginning of this. So millions are going to be affected in America. America's got a population of over 300 million people. So you're looking at 80% of the population being affected. 80%. So 80% of 300, 10%, 60. You're going to have about 260, 270 million people affected. Sobering thought when you hear those figures. It's quite terrifying. And even if it's not as bad as that, say only 20% of America gets affected, it's still 60, 70 million people. 60 or 70 million people. And if it's got a mortality rate of 3%, 10% of 70 million, 3%, that's 2 million. You're looking at the very best, 2 million Americans dead. There you go, look at this. This is Britain. This is Britain now, look at Britain. Look at Britain where we're on. So we've got 3,500 people infected, 177 deaths, but look over the last few days, look at the spike. Look how it's rising. So again, for us, that'll be up through the roof of this building. In a week's time, because it's going to peak in about 2 weeks in Britain. It'll peak in about a month in America. But you're talking about colossal loss of life, and that's it. We have to deal with it. We just look at these charts. The figures are there, and we're not seeing anything yet. And that's if we can believe the government, because I think governments have got a duty of care, and they don't want to spook people. But you only need to see the level of craziness. Our governments come out there and set these unprecedented financial packages to try and keep the people calm and give them money. But people who are working, who are now put out of work, are normally decent, law-abiding citizens. We're not the ones who are going to riot because we don't have wages. Really, we're not. We're sensible, decent folk. The people who are going to wreck and tear and go wild are the people who are not working anyway. So it doesn't matter what financial packages you give them, they're still going to go absolutely mental and wreck and tear all around them, no matter how much money you promise workers, because these guys aren't workers, they have no stake in society, they're criminals. But here's a nice story for you. Here's kids down in England, some school in England, they're next to an old people's home, and was it somebody's birthday or something in the old people's home or something like that, or just... right. So the old people are on their 80s and everything. They're locked down. They can't get out. They can't get out and feel the grass and breathe the fresh air. So they're in lockdown. But the kids' school's next to it in England. Nice school in England. Look at that. I don't know what part of England that is, but they're all white. I think it might be Russia. Don't know where that is in England, but it's highly unusual. Anyway, the kids all decide to do a really nice thing. God bless them. See, there's a lot of sweetness and generosity and niceness in people, really. So the kids all come out into the playground, went up against the fence, and they sang for a long time over at the old people's home to cheer the old people up. God bless those children. So, wartime, and this is a kind of wartime situation, although a lot of people, penny's not dropped yet. It's dropped for me because I'm Scottish and we're always dour and expecting the worst anyway. I'm like the old boy out of Dad's Army. Do you remember him, Fraser? You're doomed, I tell you, doomed. So that was in Greater Manchester. Must be a really posh part of Manchester because there's very few ethnics there. Ha ha, yeah, thought so. But you know the old guy, Dad's Army, Fraser, we're all doomed, I tell you, doomed. Well, I'm always like that. I've been like that for 30 years. So I'm all right in the war situation because I'm in a constant state of war anyway, and I think everybody's trying to kill us. But the reality is this is really bad, and we have to deal with it. And can you... so I can see anybody who's commenting there. I can't see anybody. They're like, here we are. EMS, don't know. Yeah, no. Deep state. All right. So, you know, huh? Yeah, Deb Deckard, EMS rejuvenated, no charge to be treated for coronavirus. Well, I just read about a woman who's just been charged. How much? $35,000 for been treating for it. Maybe they've changed that today. I don't know. I hope so. Always scares me that about America. It's very, very terrible. Yeah. Death squad. Well, I would say the mortality rate in the UK is appalling compared to other nations because we don't live in China where they just tell lies. You remember they said nobody was killed during the Tiananmen Square uprising. There was about 250,000 people slaughtered. So just because people tell you something doesn't mean you say believe it. Look at Italy. Yeah, keep your panties. Okay. I don't know. I mean, some people are coming up with the most wacko ideas about conspiracies. Look, dead bodies, they're either really good actors and pretending to be dead even into the crematorium or it's real. There's Fraser. Hi, people call me a young version of Fraser. I'm not far behind him. Well, but he always told Captain Mannering, we're doomed, I tell you, we're doomed. Well, in the real sense, it's going to be pretty tight and there's going to be a lot of your relatives not here after this. But again, we've got to be sensible. Now, I see people asking there, Portugal, is this anything to do with the New World Order? Who knows? Who cares? Makes no difference. We've really got to get on with what's going on instead of sitting worrying about the New World Order. Look, it's like a lot of people tell me look, the Muslims are a big problem, but it's not them, it's the Kalergi plan behind them and the New World Order pushing them. When a Muslim's coming through your door at 3 in the morning with a suicide vest, you know, you can't say, stop. Can I tell you? You've been cajoled into this by the Zionists, but you're not really my enemy. No, of course you don't. You have to deal with it. So it's crazy. Aye, Bill Gates and his population control. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm pro-life and I've wondered for 20 years, how does the Western democracy survive with a top-heavy population of old people? Maybe this has been brought out to kill the old people. It could be, I don't know. But it does not profit me or you or your children or your elderly relatives for us to sit as grown adults pontificating and fantasising about what could be and what could not be. We have to deal with the practicalities now, protection, food and survival. That's it. If we all survive this, we can sit around the fire, I'll buy you all a beer, and then we can all decide what branch of the Illuminati done it. So we have to be very, very careful. No, not really. Somebody says, will the power go out? I don't think so. But I think whatever civil disorder comes about could take the power out, but I don't think so. I really don't think so. And I hope not. That would be the worst case scenario. But as again, with things like New World Order and all that, who knows? And to be honest with you, who cares? Even if I tell you right now, the New World Order's doing, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? Take a cricket bat and go out in the street and challenge the New World Order to a fight? Come on. Back to normality, back to reality. If you want to watch fantasy things and you want me to talk about New World Order, Bill Gates and the Illuminati, chemtrails and lizard people, you're on the wrong channel. We are the Knights Templar International Order with thousands of people worldwide, nearly all ex-military. We don't deal in these things. We deal in survival of people and all the rest of it. When Syria and all these things were on, some of your men were out there defending Christians on the ground. Some of them lost their lives. We're not YouTube weirdos. We don't indulge in chitter for the sake of it. We're here to make sure you and your family get through this crisis as best you can. Does that mean we can save you from dying? No, but we can certainly prevent some of you from dying. If you want to listen, listen. If you want to go into conspiracy theories, there are thousands of other YouTube guys out there, guys that pretend to be leaders of the patriotic movement and yellow vests and God, who knows what. They'll sit all day chatting to you about conspiracy theories and lizard men and chemtrails and what's this other thing they're on about? What's that thing? 5G. There's loads of people out there talking all day about 5G, but see when you're actually dying or your street's been burnt down, they won't be there for you. The Templars will be, if we can be, but at least we'll make an effort. They won't make any effort. They'll just go on about 5G. So come on, into growing up material. I don't get into that. Death squad. Compared to other Western democracies, morally pretty bad. UK, yeah. Well, I would say the Germans, are a wee bit more sophisticated than us, and they've got a very good stuff. I would say to Scott Riley, I'm looking for truth. No. This is not the time to look for truth. 2 months ago, you could have sat in your bedroom or sat in your front couch looking for truth. No problem. You spent all the time you wanted looking for truth. And then maybe in a couple of years' time, if you're still alive, and that's doubtful, you can then search for truth. This is a war. When we're in the trench, we don't think, why are we fighting with the Germans? Is it something to do with the prince that gets shot in Serbia? Why are we... No, you're in the trench, you're dodging bullets. We're in a war zone. Let's deal with reality. The truth? What is the truth? And as somebody once said, you can't handle the truth. So don't seek it. Just seek bread, corned beef, spam, rice, pasta, sauces, sardines, power supplies, wood, fuel. Get that first. Because when you're lying dying in a pool of your own blood or gargling with the last breath coming out of you, will it make a difference if the Illuminati's doing this or if the Europe 2020 or 5G caused it? Will it make a bloody difference to your kids if they're lying dying in their beds? No. So, come on, people. Let's get on with it. Now, the Americans are just about to get it tight, so we've got to be a wee bit careful with Americans and pray for the Americans because this has hit Europe pretty hard. We're not in the epicenter yet. It's going to take another week to 10 days before we get the full spike on it. The Americans are maybe 2 weeks off the full spike. So please, Americans, look very carefully what's happening to us and how the fabric of our societies begin to unravel. They're trying to pretend it's not unraveling by promising money to everybody, but I can assure you it's unraveling. Even today, the shops are bare. The shops are bare. I was just in one, bare. And now the shops that are open, that is. Most people are shutting down. Now, I see people going on about this Europe 2020. Can the mods do us a favour and just ban these people? I cannot be bothered. How many times have I got to tell you this? I don't speak about conspiracies. I don't talk about conspiracies. I don't spend any time in it.
It's Operation Defender Europe 2020.
Oh, is it? Right. What's that?
It's a joint exercise.
Oh, for goodness sake. I know.
It's a joint exercise in Europe between the US and Europe.
Yeah, it's madness. It's lunacy. It's lunacy.
Their own exercise.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
That's why.
Right, I'm going to explain this once and once only. Right, see when the Cold War was on, I was in the engineers, but then I was in the territorial army. I went to Germany every single year with about 300,000 British and American and European soldiers. We had hundreds of tanks, thousands of pieces of field artillery. Well, we don't do it as much now because the Cold War's over, but we still do it almost every single year. There's a joint exercise on in Europe at the moment. Because we've still got this wee bit, we're always a bit worried about Russia. That's why the soldiers are out there. They're coming back, by the way. A load of them come back into Belfast last night. We've seen them. Hundreds and hundreds of troops coming into Belfast. And some of the Irish Republicans are saying, the Brits are back. We never left. Northern Ireland's still part of Britain, you morons. It's still British. We have troops here in army bases. Are they patrolling the falls and the Catholic areas? No. They're just in their bases and soon they'll be in England. So chill out. You don't have to worry. Nobody's coming to... The black and tans aren't coming back, for goodness sake. But again, these people who are dementing themselves with this kind of conspiracy stuff is mad. Now, I see an interesting comment here from Richard. You're right or you're well, either we're right or a Freemason. Well, the former is correct because we're not Freemasons. We don't even allow Freemasons to join the real Knights Templar, and that's us. The Masons have a form of Templars, but that's Masonic. We don't get involved in Masonic stuff. Thank you very much. Not for us. Not for us at all.
We've hidden them because of the language.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, and anybody comes on, there was a guy on the other day doing it. Oh, I know this guy. This is Richard the Lionheart. Mods, ban him. Ban him now, immediately. I've told this guy twice not to swear. There's no need for swearing. And a man who swears publicly is a buffoon. We don't need swearing. Is he banned? He's banned. And I warn him for anybody comes onto your channel, talks about daft conspiracies, or uses foul language, you will be banned. Permanently. Because I don't like it. I don't think there's a need for it. Is there? Come on. There's no need for it, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I beg your pardon, there's some ladies on here. And there's ladies on here, and there could be young people on here. They don't want to see you using foul and vile language. It's not good enough. Come on. So, there's interesting things happening. The Templars, are going to be launching some initiatives very shortly, practical initiatives. So rather than sit in their bedrooms like a lot of people do nowadays, watching demented people on YouTube, we're going to be doing stuff practically on the streets to help our people right across the world. But I'm the spokesman for the English-speaking folk, and I know I don't speak English very well because I'm an Ulster Scot, but bear with me. So the people who are watching me are normally British or American, Canadian or Australian or New Zealand. So people who can speak English, I'm the spokesman. There's people in Hungary and Serbia and places like that who speak those languages. But we're going to be doing stuff on the street. So in America, we will be setting up outreach programs to deal with people regarding vulnerable people and food supplies and securing food supplies and things like that. And in Britain, we'll be doing the same. So we'll be mobilising our guys to help those who perhaps have fell through the safety nets of the social welfare blanket. And there always is, as you know, there's always that. And there's a lot of old people who are confined to their homes, and we have to try and help them. And we have to do it very carefully, because you don't want to go up to an old lady's door and give her some food supplies, but kill her by giving her the virus, because we can carry it and it doesn't really affect young people. By the way, I'm not classing myself as a young person, but you know what I mean, because there'll be our young people that's doing it. So if you do go to the doors, you have to have the gloves, you have to have the mask, you have the protection on, you have to have really well washed and disinfected clothes and things like that. But we'll be doing that, and that's going to be rolling out over the next few weeks. So again, this is why I get very, very tetchy about people talking utter garbage about conspiracy theories. Get up off your fat arse and volunteer to get out and help people instead of pulling your hair out thinking about the Illuminati and lizard people. Grow up. What's the matter with you? Grown men shouldn't behave like this. There's work to be done. We're in a war situation. There's the enemy to fight. There's our people to defend and keep alive. So don't come and talk to me about chemtrails, for goodness sake. After all, come and buy me beer or Drambuie and I'll speak all night to you about it. As long as you're buying the Drambuie, I'll sit all night and listen to your gibberish. So we'll be looking for volunteers. So let's put your money where your mouth is. Everybody's told me for years, Jim, I'm a solid patriot. Solid patriot. Go right in here, boy. Well, I'm going to test you at that. We're going to be looking for volunteers. We're going to be looking for you to get out in the street, put yourself at risk, distributing food and distributing medical supplies. We'll soon see then. And if people who don't come out for no good reason, young, single, fit men who don't volunteer, you dare come on this thing here, this comment section, and you haven't come out and volunteered your services, you're going to get some tongue lashing from me. I can assure you of that. If there's a valid reason you can't come out, that's fine. People have got families and people have got other things to do. That's fine. But young men normally are the soldiers because they've nothing to lose. And if you die, your ma will be sad, but that's the way it is. So we're going to be looking for volunteers to do their duty. So you've sang the songs for years, you've waved the flag for years, you've been on the Tommy demonstrations. Let's see what you're really made of. And by the way, talk about Tommy, where is he? Where's the Tommy boy went these days? Don't know. But have you not noticed that? The Labour Party's disappeared. Never heard from them. In Ireland, Sinn Féin have completely vanished. They get the biggest election result in their history. Socialist lefties, of course. Now when a real world problem comes along, not transsexual or non-binary or any garbage like that, or, what do you call this, eco-warrior type nonsense. Real problems, real things, real deaths, real crisis, people needing real assistance. All the socialists have disappeared. All the lefties have done a bunk. Sinn Féin, nobody's seen anything from them. We think the Martians have took them. And the same way, these so-called right-wing spokespeople, where are they? Where are all these right-wing parties? Where are all these right-wing heroes? Where are all these great patriots? I haven't seen one for about 2 weeks now. They've just vanished. You know what they're doing? They're away counting their money that morons who were fooled by them on YouTube gave them. That's where they are. Anyway, I know that was a bit harsh, but that's how I feel about these people. You've no idea the irksome nature that I have when confronted by fake patriots. And it's not your fault if you ever were taken in with these people. And the same with the left-wing people. It's not their fault because you've been brainwashed. But this is a time of reckoning now, and this is a time when you will see who the fakes were and who the real people were. And it'll surprise you because it'll throw up some odd results. There's people who maybe I thought were no good. They'll bloom. They will flourish in this environment of danger. And there's other people who I had a lot of time for, who I haven't seen for 2 weeks. They've gone. They've disappeared. like snow off a wall in the springtime sun. They've just gone. And it's very disappointing to see people you had great faith in not being about anymore. But come the hour, cometh the man. And I think after this, we will be left with some really good patriots who have been tested in the heat of battle. And they will be men to follow. But the other ones will be exposed for what they were. Fakes and frauds and the ego freaks. So let's have a wee look here. Gaz Williams, you're 100% right. They're all grifters. It's amazing how people can't see through these folks. Crazy. Jonathan, absolutely fantastic. Really good. Glad to hear that. Really good. You're a good man. 50% off the price. See, this is the difference about good people. When crisis strikes, they're at their best. They're at their best. They flourish and they bloom. Who else is on here? I will on James Ref. God bless you, son. God bless you. Good man yourself. Oh, Tommy. Where is Tommy? We don't know. He's gone. A lot of things Jesus Christ is watching. I know that. Thank you, John. I know Jesus Christ is watching, and I know God is with us. I've no doubt about that. Not a bit of doubt. Flourish in the Lord. Yes, Ralph. What's going to happen in Ireland, and how long will this epidemic last? Well, Ralph, I'm not an overly intelligent man. You probably know that by now. However, what's going to happen in Ireland? At the best, you'll lose about 10,000 people dead. That's at the very, very best. At the worst, you could be looking at 50, 60, 70,000 people in Ireland dead. And places like Balbriggan, as you know fine well, and Blanchardstown, and these places which is get heavily populated by invaders, they're going to explode. They're going to explode, my friend. And just God help the people who live in these areas, because you don't. Ireland is a very small army. You have an unarmed police force to guard the Síochána. They will take ill as well. I mean, who's going to control Dublin? You've seen Dublin at New Year when all the new people went mental in Dublin at New Year. Multiply that by 1,000, you'll have an idea what's happening. And if you want to see what's going to happen, Google in London riots, fire, Croydon fires, riots, 2011, and you'll see what happened in London. Whole streets of the capital city were burnt to the ground. And nobody was armed. People just went on a rampage and burned everything. Not just the immigrants, but our people, our trash. Now, somebody asked me the other day there about the Muslims. Will the Muslims rise up? No, they won't. And I want to be very clear here. And I know it's going to shock people. The safest places in Britain to live will be the Muslim areas, because the Muslims are very disciplined. Here in Northern Ireland, we have a huge paramilitary system through the Orange Order, the other people. Huge system. So Northern Ireland will be 100% safe, the Protestant areas anyway. In England, the Muslims areas will be very safe because they're all interconnected through their mosque, through their imams. They've got a massive command structure and a very strict command structure. So just like the London riots, the only places that weren't affected were Muslim areas and Sikh areas, because they closed off their areas, told the police, you go and do what you need to do. We're in control of this area, and they're looking at it, and we will control our area. And they did. And there was no violence, there was no trouble, there was no looting, no nothing. So the Muslims they are manly, and they're family orientated, they're religious, and they've got a structure. That's the key, structure. So they will close down their areas and they will deal with it. There'll be no messing. In our areas, we have no command structure, we have no social cohesion, we have no natural leaders, we have nothing. So sadly we will suffer again. And I think now in Ireland has very little social cohesion. The church is gone. There's no other thing like the Hibernians anymore, or even the IRA anymore. It's all gone. It's all gone. Everybody's just a little individual unit. So how can you band together? You know, the Irish are a tough people, but the whole key is structure. So you could be the fiercest man in the world, or you could be the softest man in the world. But if the soft men in the world are unified and they've got control and structure, they will survive. But the fierce man with no structure won't survive. It's the way it is. It's how the English built an empire. Englishmen are not particularly fierce, but they're very, very well organised. Very well organised. And that's how they built an empire. And that's how they conquered people much fiercer than them, because they're organised. This is all about organisation, people. So, yeah, it's going to be bad. Let's have a look now. Triple Nickel from Scotland. How you doing, the Panther? How you doing, the Panther? Nice to see you. Yeah, Death Squad. Wonder if Boris will force mosques and other religious gatherings to close because of the virus. he's band gatherings, but I don't think he's going to push his luck because that's one thing the Muslims won't obey. If they make a decision, they'll do it, but they won't be told not to go to their mosque. And I can tell he's a practicing Protestant. Nobody tell me I'm not going to my church, and I'm sure most real Catholics would tell you the same. Nobody's going to tell us if we can go to church. Our bishops, our ministers, our priests will tell us, not the government. No government. Yeah. But I can tell you, most of the big mosques have actually, my good friend here has told us most of the mosques have actually closed voluntarily. But no, you'd be a very foolish man to order any serious religious person to do anything that interferes with religion. You'd be a very foolish man. So let's not beat up the Muslims because they're very protective about their religion. If we were half as protective about Christianity as they are about Islam, we wouldn't be in this state, in this country. So, yeah, living in the countryside is the best place to be right now. Yeah, you're correct. I mean, being in the big cities for in the next few weeks is going to be very precarious. And I spoke to a left-wing guy spoke to me today. A left-wing guy. Yeah, some of them do speak to me. Normally with expletives. And a lot of words that I wouldn't like to repeat here. But they're okay sometimes, and they'll phone me up because they think sometimes I know what I'm talking about. And one guy who was living in the middle of one of these cities that he has helped to enrich, he said, I'm getting out. I'm getting my family out because it's all going to go wrong. I said, well, you were the guy that brought all these people into that city. Isn't it so annoying that after 20 years of people like me and you being called names, horrible names, and called racist and xenophobics and all this, because we told people, we tried to warn people what was happening in our country, now even the left and the Liberals are agreeing with us. In fact, most of the left and Liberals have said, they've disappeared. There's not a word out of them. Where's Corbyn? Where's that other Egypt, that woman? Where's that woman that can't count? Diane Abbott. Where's she? In America, where have they went? Where's Sanders? Where's all these people? All these socialists who thought multiculturalism was a great idea. Now there's a crisis. Now we're all going to fall apart. Where are they? Where's Sinn Féin? I mean, seriously, I'm an Ulster Protestant. Sinn Féin are my sworn enemies, but I'm actually really worried about them because nobody's seen any of them for weeks. They have disappeared off the face of the planet. So maybe there is a conspiracy. Maybe it's like, what do you call that, Area 51 or something, What's going on? Have they been beamed up? Well, if they've been beamed up, and I would only wish this in Sinn Féin, I hope they've been thoroughly anally probed as we speak. I'll sort them out. Because they're socialists, they're not Republicans, they're not Catholics, they're even very tentatively hanging on to the phrase being Irish. I know good Irish people, Niall McConnell's one of them, but I don't know what's going on. But Warrior Woman, nice to see you. And is there any other women on here? I don't know, seems to be a very heavily man thing here. But anyway, the good news is, I forgot it again, didn't I? Good grief. Listen, don't get me off the hook here, because I forgot to say it at the beginning. So please, do me a favour. Like the video, click subscribe, press the bell, and comment below, please. And share, you must share. I was supposed to say that again at the beginning, I forgot. I'm getting into terrible trouble by my elders and by my IT people. So please, like the video, click subscribe, press the bell, comment below, and share. You could save somebody's life, and there's very little sense being spoken. I spent an hour yesterday going through YouTube channels of the so-called right wing in America and Britain. I was horrified. I was almost to tears with a level of lunacy I've seen. For the American friends, the good guys to follow there are the 3%ers are all right. The Oath Keepers are all right. Some of the militia boys that you'll probably know about, they're all right. The good people. But a lot of these weirdos like, is it Spencer, Richard Spencer and all these alt-right folk, they're balloons, they're clowns, they're idiots, they're men children, they're silly little fools. Don't go near them, stay away from them. They've got nothing in mind other than their own ego and their own bank balance. Please be careful. In Britain, I don't need to tell you who the weirdos are, you already know them, stay away from them. Yeah, John Gary says write it down. I have wrote it down. I still forget. I'm really sorry. So the good news is, or the bad news, depending on your perspective, we're going to do a Sunday service, and I think we're going to do it. We have to be careful because our American friends, we've got to cater for everybody. So if we've done it at what? 6 at night? Okay, 6, yeah. 6 would be good. Yeah, 6. Okay, we'll stay 6 o'clock. See, this is how fluid things are. They're just happening. So 6 p.m. GMT. That's British time, which will be Eastern Standard Time, 12 noon, 1 o'clock, something like that. Yeah, times are below. We're going to do a church service because in a previous life, before I got totally immersed in all this, I was an ordained minister with the Reformed Congregational Church, which is a very tight form of Calvinist denomination. But I'm very open because I've spent a lot of time in the East, in Serbia, and these places. So I've also got a tinge of Eastern orthodoxy about me. And I've spent the last 20 years of my life on the picket lines outside the abortion clinics with devout Roman Catholics. And many of my friends are Pope Pius X. So I'm a very strange hybrid mix. I know we've all got differences. I understand that. I understand the differences with transubstantiation, consubstantiation, subsubstantiation. I know it all. I have 2 degrees in theology. I've even got a master's in theology. I understand it. And I would not want to make anybody uncomfortable. But I don't talk about these differences in sermons. I talk about the love of Christ, our duty before God, and these kind of matters. I leave all the theological debates to other people. So I'm not interested in that. So I just want to make sure you like the video, click subscribe, press the bell, and comment below, and share. And then you'll be notified, and you'll know when to come on. But Sunday, 6 p.m. British time, we'll do a church service, old-fashioned church service. As you can imagine, I'm not a happy clappy. I won't have a guitar or a tambourine with me. But a very simple message to try and encourage people, to lift your spirits, to lift your soul, but also to prepare you. Because, listen, I don't want to tell people nonsense. And the reason most people don't go to church nowadays is because the priests and the ministers are rubbish. And they just tell you what they want to hear, and they tickle your ears. They're ear ticklers. I've never been an ear tickler. And that is one of the reasons that I didn't make a full-time career in the ministry, because I'm not there to make you feel good. But I want to try and encourage you. I want to strengthen you. And I want to make you fit for what's coming. But also, many people watching this video won't be alive in 6 months. And I'm very aware of that. I might not be alive in 6 months. So my job, I'm an ordained man, my job before God is to prepare you to meet your Maker, if that's what's going to happen. So I want to encourage you, I want to strengthen you, but I want to also make sure you're fully kitted out for eternity. And that's what I'll do to the best of my ability. That's all from me. I wish you, we're not on tomorrow, we're not on a Saturday, we've got 1 day off. We're not on a Saturday. We're taking Saturday off because we'll go mad if we don't, and you will probably get fed up looking at us. We'll see you on Sunday, 6 p.m, God willing. And until then, Deus Vult. And remember, stick close to God, and you won't go far wrong. God bless you.
Is real. And we are on the front line. In a world of misinformation and attacks from the left and mainstream media, censorship, deplatforming, it is time to call out the fake news and bring you the truth. We are the Knights Templar. Visit our website and join today. We are the Resistance. Deus Vult.